Everything was hidden in a coffee cup. After the last sip, I was no longer the same man. My name is Ryan Matthews. I'm 39 years old. I was born in Chicago, studied engineering. I've been married 14 years. I met my wife Laura in college, and when I was with her, I thought I was the luckiest man in the world. I also started a tech company with my friend of 20 years. Jake, he was my friend, my brother, until I felt the dagger in my back. One day I had to go to work a little late. As I was getting my coffee and looking for my jacket, a notification popped up on Laura's phone. The screen was locked, but the preview was on. I can't stop thinking about last night. Same time, underneath it was Jake's name. My heart stopped for a moment. Time feels heavy. The sounds around me are muffled. Everything inside me went silent, but I didn't show anything from the outside. I put that phone back on the table. "You look good," I said to Laura as she came out of the bathroom smiling. But something inside me was broken forever. I also spoke to Jake that day. At the meeting, he stood in front of me and explained the company's strategies. The presentation he was holding in his hand was actually my dream, but I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't know yet that the person who had been digging on my dreams was sitting in front of me, and every piece of information in his hand was a reflection of the trust I had built. I couldn't sleep that night. I stared at the wall while Laura slept next to me. My heart was shattered, but my brain was working. "This can't be a coincidence," I said. Jake and Laura's shared secret. What was hidden from me? I needed answers. But first, silence. Because some battles don't start like a storm, but like a silent rain. The next day, as soon as I woke up, I started paying attention to the details. Laura's phone habits had changed. Jake no longer included me in some meetings. But the real breaking point came in an email. It was sent to me by mistake. In the attachment was a new software project, but it didn't have my name on it, just Jake and Laura. At that moment, tears came to my eyes, but I didn't fall, because that's when I realized these two had sold not only my heart but my future, and I had given them everything. That's why I said nothing in return, because true revenge begins at the right moment, and I started waiting for that moment. The first day I didn't cry, I didn't shout, I just watched, because I understood this war would not be won by shouting but by reason. I snuck into Jake's meetings. I monitored the Zoom connections through an encrypted system. Screenshots, voice recordings, transcripts, everything went into my archive. I realized that he had prepared all his plans, even the slides of his presentations, from documents stolen from me. I took out patents in my own name on projects, quietly without anyone knowing. 70% of the code for the new software Jake was creating was mine. But my name was not on the documents. I proved this absence with notarized timestamps. I backed up Laura's phone. Messages, voice memos, secret photos. It was all collected in one file. This was no longer just a betrayal. It was a planned extortion, a scenario of mutual destruction. The most critical part of the software the company was developing in secret at the time. I just switched it to my personal cloud account using a USB stick. It was legally protected because I wrote it. I coded every line of it. I was just taking back something that belonged to me. I filed for divorce quietly. It didn't appear in any tabloid, not a word on any gossip page. But when Laura woke up one morning and looked at the envelope from the lawyers, I saw fear in his eyes for the first time. Jake was giving investors hope at the time. "Software will soon be revolutionized," he said. But what he didn't know was that the revolution was no longer in his hands. That software had already been born of me, had already returned to me. The media was silent, but I was like a storm without the noise, because some revenge, it's not won in the headlines, but between the lines, and I was rewriting every line. 6 months later, Jake finally made it big. He was marketing this software we had developed to a giant tech company in Silicon Valley. When the day of the presentation came, he was so confident on stage. His tie was perfect, his voice convincing. Investors listened with excitement, seeing the billions of dollars to come between the presentation slides. But he hadn't calculated one thing. The real owner was still alive, and he was back. At that very moment, we came in through the back door of the auditorium. Me, my lawyer, the notary, and 3 media representatives. Suddenly the mood changed. Jake's voice trembled. His hand went from the slide-through remote to his pocket. Because he saw me, and he knew. This was the end of the game. My lawyer quietly placed a folder on the table. It contained notarized patent documents, source code write-ups, and a confession letter in Laura's own handwriting. All chronological, it's all impeccable. The presentation was stopped. The investor in the CEO chair turned to Jake and said only one sentence. "If you don't own this software, what are you selling?" Silence fell, and in that silence I stepped forward. Laura was there. Her hands trembled when she saw the documents she was holding. She couldn't look at me. Jake's eyes were looking for a place to run. I turned to them and I just said, "You destroyed..."
But I built an empire from the rubble.
In that moment, everyone standing there saw that an engineer could not only write code, but also will. Those who had known me for years, as the quiet man, were now drowning in the sound of my strategy. The presentation was canceled. The company withdrew the deal. All rights to the software passed to me. And the next day, the media ran the following headline: "The man who outsmarted betrayal, Ryan Matthews. Jake's being sued, using confidential information for his own benefit, for forging documents to embezzle internal projects. And most painful of all, drowning in lies of his own making." Laura signed the divorce protocol. In her own words, "My biggest regret is that I underestimated Ryan. But I didn't hold a grudge, because I've learned that some battles are won quietly, and sometimes the best revenge is to return to the stage in triumph." Since that day, Ryan Matthews is no longer just an engineer, a leader who rose from the ashes, who defeated betrayal with intelligence. And after this story, let me tell you something. Sometimes in life you are betrayed. Sometimes the 2 people you trust the most join hands and shoot you in the back. But remember, if there is still a spark in your ashes, the fire can be reborn. What about you? If you had experienced such a betrayal, do you think you could have kept silent? Write in the comments, because who knows? Maybe we'll tell you about yours. And remember, subscribe for more such true and mind-opening stories. Don't forget to turn on the bell so you don't miss the next betrayal. Because every fall is the beginning of a transformation.